Hi, I'm Alan Gordon and welcome to another video. Today's topic is building value. Okay, and I'm going to tell you that building value, I'll show you by the end of the video, is actually learning how to build value is actually more important than learning how to close. Here is the best definition of building value that I've ever been able to put together. Value is the direct linking of your product or service's unique benefits, directly linking your product's benefits to the most important needs and desires of the customer. Value is a critical element in all sales situations, and it doesn't matter what you're selling, whether it's a husband and wife buying a living room set or a large corporation investing in a multi-million-dollar server or piece of software. If your customer doesn't see the value, they're not going to buy. But if they do see the value, they will be happy to buy. And I want you to keep this in mind about value, because in most sales situations, you're selling to more than one person. And you're always going to find that two different people or different people on a group or a committee are going to have different needs and wants. And therefore, what's valuable to one person is not always the same thing that's going to be valuable to the others in the group. And that's your job as a salesperson, to find out what is valuable to each person. You know, as salespeople, we tend to think in terms of our product and its features. And we do need to know that and understand that backwards and forwards. We're product experts, and that's fine. More advanced salespeople think in terms of sales process and sales mechanics. How do we move the sale from this point to that point? What technique do I use now? That's great. But really great salespeople, and you'll find this to be true whether they're self-made or taught, they're value experts. While they're presenting their product, they're thinking in their head, is this guy seeing the value in what I'm saying about my product or service? And if there's a match, they continue. If there's not a match, like, you're not really seeing the value in this, are you? Well, let me ask you some questions. And they recalibrate and find what the customer values so that they can address the most important needs of the customer. How do you find out what a customer values? You just have to ask them. And that's called needs development. And that's a whole nother video. Of course, it's in the book, but it's in another video that I urge you to watch. If you're a real estate agent and you're working with a couple, you've got to first completely understand the needs of both partners. Is it the length of the commute, the status, the neighborhood, the school district? Is it the square footage of the house, the size of the closets, flexible financing? Is it the architectural style? Is it the zip code? Or is it something else? Before I show any houses, I have to understand what the husband wants, what the wife wants, and I'm going to have to sell certain features of each house to the husband and possibly a completely different set of features to the wife. Let's say I'm selling a corporate sponsorship for a baseball team. I've got to find out what's the most important issues for this CEO. It took me days and weeks and months to get this guy on the phone. So now it's an opportunity to find out what's important to him. Is it entertaining his clients? Does he just want to be treated like a VIP in the suite? Is it the company's name on the center field fence, like an ego thing? Or is it reaching the company's target market? Is he interested on numbers and metrics? Does he have children? Is he going to bring the children to the game? Is it access to the clubhouse and meeting the players after the game? What's important to this guy? So before I start rattling off all the benefits of the corporate sponsorship, wouldn't it be best if I found out first what this CEO most highly values? If you do your needs development properly and thoroughly, then creating value becomes much easier. And what you're going to find is that value trumps price just about every time. In fact, I don't think there's a person watching this video who has the lowest cost product or service. You don't really need help. People just come to you because you're the cheapest. Most of us are selling something that's not the lowest cost. And therefore, if we ever sell anything, then we must have shown that the value trumped price. The value of our solution was better than the price of the cheap solution. Otherwise, they would always go for the cheapest option. So we've talked about the first step, which is uncovering from your customer what's valuable to the customer. What does he value? But what's valuable about your product or service? What need does it fill? What problem does it solve? Your customer doesn't care what your product is or how it's made or what color it is. He needs to know, what does it do for him? How does it solve his problem? Is it a fit or is it not a fit? And your job is to show him that it's a perfect fit. But of course, in order to do this, you need to understand what he means, what's valuable to him, what his needs are, what would be a perfect fit for him. But you also have to understand how your product or service is different than all the other options that your customer has. Why should he buy it from you rather than all the other salespeople that can sell him maybe the exact same product? And then when I think back to every time I have not closed a sale, that means my customer didn't choose my product or service. He went in a different direction. Two reasons. Number one, maybe my product wasn't a fit. Maybe it really wasn't for them. That's number one. Or number two, maybe it could have been a fit, but I didn't explain how it would be a good fit. And if I didn't explain it, then I had not asked my customers enough questions. I simply didn't do a good enough job learning what my customer values. So here's a question that I ask now all the time up front in my needs development process. You know, Mr. Customer, I know you're looking at a variety of options. And by the way, of course, I want you to choose ours. But whatever solution you end up choosing, what's the most important problem that solution is going to solve for you? What else does that solution need to do for you? Well, once you ask that question, that's all there is to it. And if you think about it, if you don't know the answer to that question, how can you present your solution? What does he need your product to do? Now you can begin your presentation. Okay, you said that such and such was the most important. So let's start with that. And you also have to understand that value may lie in the product or service itself. The value may lie in the price. The value may lie in what it's going to save them in the future. The value may lie in your company and its reputation for service and support. Or the value, and I find this all the time, the value may lie in the salesperson. The customer really just wants someone they know and trust and can pick up the phone and talk to. That's very valuable to certain customers. So to summarize, value isn't just the benefits of your product or service. It's the benefits as they relate to the issues and concerns that your customer is facing. And that's why the needs development process, discovery, is so critical. The more you understand about your customer's business, their challenges, their issues, their needs, their concerns, their fears, their hopes, their dreams, the more you understand about what's driving your customer, the more you can build up the value of your solution. I want to share with you before I go one more very powerful technique that you can use to highlight your unique strengths. And that is, we're going to tie your needs development questions to your product or service's unique strengths. And in this, I'm actually going to give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I met a very young accountant. He's got a young wife, they have a 2-year-old, and a newborn baby. In speaking to this young man, I found out that about a year ago, he had branched out and started his own accounting firm. Well, how's it going? And, you know, like any new business, he tries to make it sound good, but we recognize it's going very slowly. We're building our customers along. I've got some good long-term customers. I'm picking up a few businesses here and there. It's going pretty well. And I say, well, would you like to get more customers more quickly? And he says, of course I would. So I asked him, I said, look, what makes you different than every other accountant? Why should I bring my taxes to you? Why would I trust you with my personal finances and my business finances? Well, his face lit up at that, and he told me, he said, wow, great question. We get to know all of our clients in detail. I keep notes on family, business details, tax goals. Another thing is everyone in my office is on a first-name basis. You may be Dr. James Anderson to the rest of the world, but when you walk into our office, you're Jim. Personal service. That's what this young man is offering. Personal service is this accountant's unique offering. So now I taught him how to cold call. And when you're talking to a prospect, you ask needs development questions. But I wanted him to ask these questions to tie in with his emphasis on personal service. Mr. Customer, when's the last time you reviewed your annual tax plan? Oh, wow, you don't have an annual tax plan. Well, when's the last time you and your accountant sat down and reviewed your tax goals? Oh, you don't sit down on a regular basis with your accountant? Well, how important is a personal relationship with your accountant? What else in your relationship with your accountant is important? Well, it would seem to me, Mr. Customer, the more I know about your personal situation, the more I can work on specific things to save you money, don't you think? Well, now these needs development questions did everything in the world to drive up the importance of this young accountant, because he's going to give this customer personal attention. And if this customer is not getting personal attention from his existing accountant, you can be sure he's going to be very interested in learning more about this young accountant. And he did this by asking questions which highlight the personal relationship effect. Now this young accountant is in a great position to match his commitment to personal service to this customer's needs and desires. Here's a very important point. If I only had 30 minutes with this young man, that would be the first and only thing I would teach him. Learning how to build value is more important than learning how to close. Because if your customer does not see the value in your service, your customer cannot be closed. They have to see the value before you can move to the next step. Even going back to the accountant example, even if it turns out that this young man's service is more expensive than the existing accountant, the customer is going to see the value in his personal level of service. As always, value trumps price. If I put myself in the position of a customer and you're pitching me on your product or service, if I don't see the value right away, what am I going to do? I'm going to say, hey, this is great. What does it cost? Let's get right down to the cost. And then I'm going to get sticker shock and I'm completely backed away from the conversation. I didn't see your value. Now I need to know your price. But if you've engaged me, if you've identified my most important pressing problems and you're addressing them one by one, I'm actually going to be leaning in to find out more from you. Then when I find out the price, I may get sticker shock, but because I need your solution so much, I'm going to psychologically have to find a way to wrap my mind around this price and get comfortable. The key to real selling is to understand the problems and issues that your customers are facing, their fears, their worries and concerns, their wants and desires, and then one by one match your solution to directly address your customers' issues. And moving to an advanced technique, by carefully planning your needs development questions, you can guide your customers to prioritize their values in such a way that they match the strengths of your solution perfectly. And when you can do that, that's building value. And that is a great skill to have. All right, that's it for today. Selling's a great profession. I love it. I know you love it too. Enjoy every minute that you're with your customers and continue to work on your sales skills on every call. Keep refining your sales skills to a higher and higher level until you become the master salesman you want to be. That's it. Thanks very much.